to everybody. We hope you're all well despite these challenging circumstances. And welcome to this first CATCAT Morning. No, without COVID, we would have organized it in person. But unfortunately, we have to do it online. But we hope you appreciate the format, and then we will also like afterwards your feedback on future activity that we could organize. So CATCAT is this new initiative, Cell and Tissue Research in Catalonia, to bring together different researchers from different institutes. We have 7 institutes participated at the moment, to exchange, to know better each other, and also to raise the visibility of the research you do in Catalonia. And I add here also the brand new website that we have recently launched together with Emi from Vivek's lab. And again, if you have any feedback on the websites, please let us know. You're all expert by now in Zoom and online meetings, but let me remind you just 2 simple messages as a Zoom etiquette. So please turn off your micros when you're not speaking. And when we will have the time for questions, you can raise your hands with the button at the bottom of your screen, or you can also put your question in the chat, and with Amy and Damiana, we'll check and pass the questions. And this is the program. So we will be together until 1:30. We will have now a welcome by Vivek Malhotra, and then we will have talks from scientists at the different institutes. The idea is to repeat this CATCAT morning, so all the scientists can have their time to present and discuss their latest research. And then at the end, as I said, we would like open discussions. Not so easy if all of you will be there. We'll try to manage. And as I said, we want inputs. We had initial meetings among the PIs, but we saw in the registration today there are also PhD and postdocs. So we want this CATCAT initiative be useful also for the junior researchers. And we are all ears to also to listen to your request. By the way, my name is Michela Vertero. You saw probably some emails from me, and together with Amy, we are working with Vivek to coordinate this initiative. So with this, I'd like to introduce you to Vivek Malhotra. He's the coordinator of the Cell and Biology program at the CRG, and he has spearheaded the CATCAT initiative. So Vivek will give you a brief introduction on the philosophy of CATCAT, and then we will start with the scientific talks. Okay, Vivek, it's yours, and I mute myself.
Michela, good morning. Before I say anything, I would like to thank Michela and for helping out on this, and Amy for helping Michela, and Louis, for the director of our institute, for providing some level of funding to get us going. I'm basically very lazy. If I were to do this all by myself, it'd be chaotic and be over by now. So thank you very much. So why are we here? This is a good experiment. This is how I think of it. It is very clear that biology in Catalonia, especially in the city of Barcelona, has reached a very high level of notoriety in a good way. Okay? If you look around, lots of ERCs, lots of very talented people publishing great stories in fancy magazines, and still it doesn't have the kind of impact that is expected of such level of talent. And I think it has something to do with the fact that we are lots of people, but we're all separated in different locales within the city. And the names of the institutes do not always go very well with the local expertise. So for example, my institute is called Center for Research on the Golgi Apparatus. Sorry, Center for Research, Center for Genomic Research. And in cell biology, most of us are looking at stuff that happens once you come out of the nucleus, right? And so we need to find ways to make sure that we are not seen as attachments to, other forms of challenges in science. And there is every reason to believe that basic biology of the kind that many of us are pursuing is very, very essential for understanding how a cell is built and how a cell is assembled into a tissue. And so the idea came a long time ago that perhaps we should find a way to collect the talent in this city and present it as one large unit to not only our colleagues within the city, within the province, within the country, and globally. So this is the reason why we came together. And I think the purpose is to be not just seen as a kind of, yes, initiative where people interact once in a while, but to make it very formal in a sense that there are guidelines, there are ways that we interact, there are proposals that we would like to put forward. Every initiative starts with the same thing that we do great science. What we want to do is we want to exchange talent, we want to exchange technology, we want to recruit PhD students, we want to recruit postdocs, we want to recruit new talent, junior and senior professors, for example, into this program. And many of these initiatives start off with a big bang and they kind of fizzle out because people don't participate. But we need to find a way to make sure that this goes forward and goes forward in a very, very positive way. And this would require a participation of everyone. It cannot be just done by having a few people who are running the show. It has to be taken as a serious effort. Otherwise, we will go back to being the usual self. That is, you go back to your lab and you run your science and you collaborate with a few and that's it. But we need to be bigger. We need to be bigger because the kind of approaches that we are using are going to become absolutely essential. We need to be thinking about how a cell is built. I keep saying this. We need to be able to address how a cell is a functional cell and how groups of cells come together to create a tissue. And if you look around, all of these aspects are being addressed at the level of physics, at the level of chemistry, at the level of cell biology, at the level of biochemistry, at the level of genetic manipulation, at the level of taking our basic findings to apply to human pathology, human physiology, mouse models, developing technologies. We just need to find a way to come together. And so CATCAT is a good way to come together. And if there is someone here who has wonderful political connections, I would urge you to find a way whereby we could perhaps in 10 years from now, post my days in science, one of you young ones takes over and turns this into not only an initiative that looks good on paper, but turns it into an institute. Why not? Why couldn't this group of people be working together in a building and not be separated out locally within the city? And this is possible. This is not such a big deal. It is possible because if you look at our abilities to attract funding from different sources, I don't know if you know this or not, but if you look around, there are lots of ERCs. And this year, I'm very proud to say that 5 of our CRG members were interviewed for an ERC synergy grant, and two of our colleagues are successful, and that happens to be Thomas Surrey and myself. Okay, so there is clearly an appreciation of basic biology. All of us study very old problems that have to do with cytoskeleton, secretion, division, cell migration, etc., etc., etc. And we use very, very fancy approaches. And I think we just need to find a way to come together, and this is the way to do it right. And this is basically the reason why one day I woke up and I said we should do this. Okay. And I should also be very honest with you that we don't really have everything in place at the outset. But I just realized that, HHMI had a proposal of giving 150 million dollars for the next 10 years to think of the next big objective that could be solved on a global basis by bringing together a group of 15 people. And would you believe it? Their plan is to understand the 4-dimensional structure of a cell, physiology and anatomy. It roughly translates to what we want to do. We have $150 million allocated to this program, but I think we can aim to come together in a way where our cumulative resources provide much more than 10 labs in a confined area could provide. We just need to be more competitive, and I think it's very simple to say it, that if we are working together, we can be very competitive to the way the science is being done and the future of this kind of science globally. So we want to learn our science, and we learn to communicate more freely. We need to have, we will have regular meetings, we will have interactions, we will do everything that will take for us to come together. But we need all of us to work together. This is basically all I would like to say. The rest will depend very much on the efforts of all the members of this institute, of this initiative. I had noticed that there were about 200 people who had signed up. And as always, only about, there are only about 80 participants showing up. This sort of shows me the kind of laziness people exhibit in general. And this is seen at the level of data clubs and seminars and presentations and this and that. But we need to somehow break this barrier. We need to surround ourselves with people who are really very driven, very ambitious. And this can only happen if we become very critical. You know, some people have complained that how come we were so selective in terms of the groups who could be allowed to participate in this initiative at the outset? Well, it's very simple. We went for a select group based on their research interests. And it is possible that some of these research groups will simply not participate. And it is also very likely that we are going to go global. And we will start getting people from across the globe who want to participate. And this business of communication by Zoom is becoming very common, and this will take over. And so I think things will change from the way we see it today, but we all need to participate. We need to go forward with a very positive thinking. There should be open channels of discussion. No secrets, no sort of, I can't tell you this because it is, far from being published, et cetera, et cetera. We should help out each other in whatever way it will take to make the science go forward, of the individual and all of us together, for the sake of science and for the sake of society. With that, I will stop. And if you have any burning question that I can answer quickly, I would gladly do that. If not, then I'm going to take you to our first speaker, Thomas Surrey, who has been recruited to the CRG about 2 years ago from Crick. And I must admit, it is a proud moment for not only the CRG, but for the city of Barcelona and for research that is amongst us.